Welcome back to Storytime with Quefish. I know it's been, my plan was to do a new chapter of Effortless Intimacy every week. However, life gets in the way. So I apologize that it's been a couple weeks, but giving it a try. So, Effortless Intimacy, Chapter 5. Unthinkable Events and the Comfort that Follows. Crowley was smiling again. It was rather getting on his nerves, being caught out in public smiling. Not smirking or snickering as a proper demon should. Smiling. It was all right when Aziraphale was around. Couldn't not do. But on his own while walking through the park? He was thinking of his naps. Even the 19th century snooze couldn't hold a candle to how rested he felt after his naps now. Of course, had Aziraphale been playing with his hair during that sleep, he may never have remembered how to walk after. Almost a century of sleeping on an angel's lap while he ran his fingers through your hair? He may have discorporated. It may have been worth it. He wasn't sure what exactly the angel got out of watching him nap, but he was selfish enough to not stop regardless. It wasn't every evening, or even every other evening, but perhaps once a week. Aziraphale would invite him to nap. It was usually an evening with no alcohol, although there was the one night that he had tried to nap after a few bottles of wine, but couldn't on account of the angel's inability to stop giggling. He wasn't about to stop chuckling at the angel's giggling, and eventually he had sat back up and indulged in kissing Aziraphale senseless instead. Aziraphale was always the affectionate sort, but he had become almost clingy that night. Crowley wasn't quite sure what had crossed the angel's mind, but he suddenly had a need to sober up, which of course Crowley agreed to. Once sober, he lounged with his legs over Aziraphale's knees for a bit before heading back to his flat. It had been quite a while, months even, since napping had been added to their friendship, partnership, relationship. They'd never really discussed it, what they were. Considering their history, it didn't really seem necessary. They just were. Crowley wasn't sure if he needed it defined for his benefit or Aziraphale's. And then again, why bother, really? Not like the local shop was going to have a greeting card that applied to them anyway. Crowley stopped off and picked up one of Aziraphale's favorite teas and a slice of something that he was sure Aziraphale would enjoy on his way to the bookshop. He was hoping to be invited for a nap. It had been a few days, and despite still sleeping in and enjoying his own bed, napping on the angel was so much better. He hadn't come out and asked yet. He always waited for Aziraphale to offer. Upon arriving at the bookshop, he could taste something in the air, something different and less jovial than usual. He made his way inside and, finishing a quick look around, took off his sunglasses. "Angel, I brought you something that you'll say is scrumptious, but don't ask me what it is. I buy by look, not flavor." He continued through the bookshop, peeking into the back room and finding no Aziraphale. He went back around to the staircase and headed up to the second floor. Aziraphale? Crowley found him sitting in one of the reading chairs in a corner, looking unhappy. "Hello, my dear. I'm sorry, I'm a bit out of sorts." The demon gave a small smile and sat on the arm of the chair, putting his arm around the angel and kissing the top of his head. "How many?" "3. Crowley had to blink, surprised. How did that happen? That seemed so excessive. At first I wasn't really paying attention. I was thinking about dinner. Aziraphale leaned into the demon's side embrace. The young man was going on about a lady friend he was hoping to, not woo, but more to make comfortable. She had apparently been terribly ill and was finding no joy in life. I was nodding and being encouraging as he spoke on and on. He mentioned her favorite writers, and I commented that she had excellent taste. Then the young man smiled and handed me the books. "Then you realized he'd been asking you if it was a good idea and you had agreed?" Aziraphale nodded. "I would have argued, of course, but he was so hopeful and had such an honest heart. How could I not? I closed the bookshop after he left. I couldn't be trusted not to sell again." Aziraphale looked positively horrified and intimidated by the thought, as though someone would send him a rude letter for being out of control. You wouldn't be you if you didn't care, Angel. You never would have let him get away with your books if you thought they wouldn't be appreciated. Come downstairs with me, eat the sugary concoction, and I'll make your tea. The mischievous demon kissed the top of Aziraphale's head again and slid off the chair, pulling Aziraphale with him as he put on his best temptation voice. I'm pretty sure it has chocolate cream in the middle. Can you just feel it? Melting on your tongue, clearing the day away. Aziraphale was allowing himself to be gently led to the stairs, the start of a smile appearing on his face. Did you get it from the little cafe around the corner, or was the bakery open? Cafe. They put fresh berries on top. Juicy, popping in your mouth. Crowley knew he didn't really need to put so much purr and work into this particular temptation, but he found it fun, and it was bound to make Aziraphale laugh as well. He turned around as he started down the stairs, but he didn't let go of the angel's hand. You are definitely making it sound irresistible, my dear. Aziraphale stopped as Crowley reached the floor, stopping on the next step. He truly enjoyed the vantage point, just barely taller than Crowley. He was never upset by the limits of his corporation, and indeed could change it if he truly wanted, but he never saw the point in it. However, since the first time they had kissed, with Aziraphale being taller, he found it a very heady feeling. Aziraphale gave a gentle tug on Crowley's hand. You are such a wily tempter. I find myself quite wanting something else as well. The demon relished moments like this, Aziraphale looking at him with fondness, knowing that he was cherished. Neither had been able to give voice to the love that they had, but they both knew it nonetheless. What would that be then? I'm afraid I didn't bring supper. Perhaps you were wanting cocoa instead of tea? Crowley raised his eyebrow and gave a cheeky smirk as he stepped closer. Yes, perhaps that is what I wanted. Thank you for knowing me so well, my dear. Aziraphale made to walk past Crowley with a cheeky grin of his own. He had barely even started to lift his foot when Crowley squeezed his hand. Please, Angel, kiss me. I suppose that is a much better temptation than cocoa. Aziraphale took Crowley's face in both hands, framing him as he leaned closer. Always. The kiss was sweet, slow and pleasant as they simply moved their lips together in a rhythm they had gotten very good at. Crowley's hands curled around Aziraphale's lower arms, holding him in place as much as he was being held in place. Aziraphale leaned back first, sighing contentedly. He opened his eyes to see the demon gazing up with him with such deep emotion it took his breath away. He leaned in, placing a final gentle kiss on Crowley's lips, and then his forehead. My dear, that enhanced my day an astonishing amount already. I'm not sure whatever delicacy you've brought could ever improve on it, but I am eager to try. They moved to the sofa, Crowley insisting that Aziraphale sit and he would bring everything to him. The pastry and a cup of tea were brought out, and Aziraphale enjoyed both in his customary and thorough way. Once finished, Crowley returned the dishes to the kitchen with a snap, earning a slightly reproachful glance from the angel for his lazy magic. There was no heat behind it, but more of a token glance out of principle. He was still thinking about the books, and being both happy and sad about the exchange. The demon watched him, his face flitting between thoughts and feelings. Aziraphale, may I offer you one last suggestion? Something to maybe soothe the day away? Aziraphale looked at him fondly. Of course. What shall I try? Crowley shifted himself a bit and offered his lap. Lie down, Angel. Take a nap? Oh! Well, I suppose I could try that. You're sure you don't mind? I'd feel a terrible host. Host? Angel, I may as well already live here in the shop. I feel more that I'm visiting my flat than I feel like a visitor here. Crowley gave another small gesture and reached out to Aziraphale with a playful grin. Shall I put on the temptation voice again? I can do that if it would make you feel like less of a bad host. Aziraphale gave a genuine laugh before accepting Crowley's hand. No, my dear, you are tempting enough on your own. He moved to lay his head on Crowley's lap. Crowley did not release his hand, instead moving so his arm was resting over Aziraphale's shoulder. He brought their hands up to kiss Aziraphale's palm before bringing their hands to rest just over Aziraphale's heart. "Oh, thank you." He gazed up at Crowley quietly for a few moments as he began to relax. "I don't believe I've ever made clear how lovely your eyes are, my dear, but I do so like to look at them. It flustered me the first time I was unable to see them. In Rome, do you recall? I just babbled something ridiculous while trying to get my bearings." "Of course I remember, Aziraphale. You asked if I was still a demon. And I was in a really bad mood that day. Temptation gone the wrong way. I was there to drown my disappointment until a certain angel offered to tempt me. Who would be able to stay upset after that?" Crowley felt a warmth that had nothing to do with temperature reaching through him as Aziraphale looked up at him. It grew with the comment about his eyes. He began carding his fingers through the blonde curls, hoping it would have the same effect on the angel as it did on him. Oh my. Aziraphale's eyes rolled as they closed, in the same way they would at a particularly delicious dessert that he was focusing on savoring. His lips parted as he took a slow breath, turning his face slightly towards Crowley. Taking another slow breath, he made another soft sound of luxury as he relaxed further and became less careful and more impulsive. "You know, I quite like your scent as well. Rich and full. Spiced. Savory." The angel was gently moving his head back and forth, seeming to revel in the sensations, slowly chasing every movement in his hair. Crowley gave a gentle test scratch and heard a soft sigh. However, when he gave the gentle tugs, as Aziraphale often did, he was rewarded with a surprised but satisfied, "Oh." He continued running his fingers through Aziraphale's soft hair, completely content. "Go to sleep, angel." Aziraphale fell asleep, realizing why Crowley seemed to covet the offer to take a nap so much. The demon felt all the stress of the day fall away from Aziraphale as he slid into a much-needed rest. He could feel the peacefulness radiating calmly from the lovely creature sleeping in his lap, slowly taking him over. As he felt the slow heartbeat under his hand and allowed his eyes to roam over the form lying in his lap, Crowley suddenly understood how the angel could watch him sleep and why he would enjoy it so. Thank you for joining me. That was Chapter 5.